Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
At iHeartRadio, we bring you the best podcasts, from The Ron Burgundy Show to The Breakfast Club to Stuff You Should Know. Really, all of today's biggest names. But each of these shows started with an idea, and now we want yours. We're looking to you for the next great podcast. Simply go to nextgreatpodcast.com to get the details and submit your pitch. We'll select up to 10 semifinalists and give them $1,000 to produce a pilot. Then, listeners from across the world will vote on their favorite to decide the next great podcast. Enter today at nextgreatpodcast.com. That's nextgreatpodcast.com. Why shouldn't the next great podcast come from you?
You know the final score. Now listen to the NFL podcast that tells you why it happened. Premiering September 14th.
Do they have a skill or trait that is going to allow them to survive?
Dan Orlovsky, Scott Pioli, and me, Bob Wischusen, are tape heads who watch the tape and give fans the answers.
Regardless of what the hierarchy is, folks need to be servants to the head coach.
Listen to Tape Heads, premiering September 14th on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Playing Around with Paige Renee.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Playing Around. I'm your host, Paige Renee, and you do not have to listen to just me today. We have the ever lovely Amanda Rose back on again. How are you? It's been a while.
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. How are you?
I'm good. Trying to get through this year. I can't believe it's already September.
I know.
Can you believe it?
I know. It is unbelievable. But back to you. So we don't have points bet in the state of Pennsylvania where I live. And when I was in New Jersey for the Northern Trust, I was like, oh, I know Pages with points bet, but I didn't realize you were points bet. Like you were everywhere. Like the TVs had the points bet stuff. And I'm like, it's my girl. Yes. So I ended up like downloading it and everything. So I was like, I got to support it. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Like you are killing it out there.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to do like so many different sports, but I'll get random people be like, I just saw your commercial, and I still can't get over that. Like it's the weirdest thing. And like when I go to Colorado, I saw like a billboard of myself, and I was just like Carrie Bradshaw moment, just having like, where she's waiting to see her bus. And I was like, oh no, what are people going to write on them? What are people going to do? Are they going to deface me? Like, I don't know what's going on. No, it's been pretty cool. What have you been up to?
I guess just work. Like now that golf's kind of winding down, we'll get into like the NFL and back into NBA stuff, but I've been kayaking. That's kind of like been my thing. I haven't really been playing golf because I'm like, golf will always be there. I'll always own my swing. I'll always be good at it. Like right now I want to kayak. Like one of my best friends growing up, we were both new kids in kindergarten. So our families became friends and we've been friends for the last, 21 years, and we kayak together, and it's a lot of fun. I love being on the water and getting to be with nature and all freaky like I am. So
I gotta ask though. Okay. So in like every little like sport or whatever it may be, I found this out with like betting and golf, there's these like communities and they're so hardcore about what they do.
Yeah.
Is kayaking like that, where it's she doesn't have the right paddle, so we can't let her into like our kayaking club.
So Logan and I haven't gotten that far. Like we just got our kayaks in May. So we like just go out, the two of us, and really knew nothing when we first started. And we like hit this really like bumpy patch and we almost like tipped over, and we were like, okay, time to go, Wikipedia how to kayak and how to, prospect a river. And it's like reading a green, which I really like. When you go into a rapid, you read it the way you would read a green. Like there's different places that you want to be. And it's, so like that part's really cool. I don't know about the gatekeeping in the community, if anything is super crazy. Like I'm sure they are. I believe it, but like Logan and I are so low key. Like we just go out in our little kayaks on our little like calm river and throw out our fishing line and are like, all right, that's a day. But I mean, I'm sure that people are nuts about it.
I somehow stumble upon kayaking TikTok. And so now
Did you?
I don't know how I got here and I can't leave it. I'm just stuck on it. For people who are not familiar with TikTok, you'll watch one video, and if you interact with it, if you look at the comments, you are then just I mean, submerged in like that community of things. And I must have watched like one video and now I can't escape it. But there was this video where they were tipping themselves off of a cliff. And it was insane. And they were like underwater for like a second. And then they were like ducks and they just like pushed themselves back up. And I'm like, I could never do kayaking because I'm like, you're stuck in this little boat. You're underwater. Like I would have a complete panic attack. I'd have a panic attack.
I literally kayak in like 3 feet of calm water with no alligators around. Like people are like, you're kayaking in Florida? Are you crazy? I'm like, I haven't lived there for 3 years. I would not be kayaking on like Lake Okeechobee right now. Like that's not where I am. I'm on a very calm river, you know, but yeah, the rolling and the everything, that stuff's nuts. I actually just watched a Netflix documentary called The River Runner. Really cool. This guy Scott's like he was kind of like the first of the kayak, like extreme kayaking guys and whatever. And it was just a really good video because you learn about the kayak and you kind of see what goes into it. I mean, I'm not doing whitewater kayaking, but the documentary on Netflix was so good. I really enjoyed it and was like, all right, I picked the right hobby this summer.
This is now a kayaking podcast for anyone who's interested. That's what we'll discuss.
Getting wet and wild with Paige.
There we go. Wet and wild with Paige and Amanda. I think we should start our own kayaking podcast.
So today in paddle talk and so sexual, like we could just it would be great.
It would be great. But we'll get into golf, which I'm sure everyone wants to talk about. Okay. We have to talk about one of the biggest news items of last week. And this unfortunately came right after I dropped my last podcast, and I was very in support of this person. But the tour came out and said that if you say the word Brooksy at a tour event, that you will be kicked out.
So ridiculous, but I
can't
agree.
even say it with like a straight face because in the last podcast I was like, you know what, I kind of feel bad for Bryson because if someone says that in a very, unfortunate circumstance, I could see how it could be very frustrating. But I never expected that the tour would be like, we're banning the word Brooksy from the premises, and if you say it, you're out. One, how are they going to be able to control that? And two, okay, how many other words are there in the English language? I'm sure they're going to find something else to yell at Bryson. I need to hear your thoughts on this because it is just the most bizarre thing I have ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unfortunate that it's gotten to a point in like the bullying of Bryson. Like Bryson doesn't help himself. Like I'm a really fucked up person, so I feel like I've earned the right to analyze other fucked up people. And I'm like, I don't think Bryson's a bad guy. I just think he wants to be loved. I think he's weird. He says the wrong things at the wrong time. And Brooks is probably just, Brooks is like, look at me. I gained 50 pounds of muscle. I straightened my teeth out. I have a hot, fiance. Like, let's go. Let's beat this kid, to pieces. And I'm just over it. Like you're adults, you're 30 years old. You don't need to bully some other kid, no matter how weird he is. But then like the fact of like the fans bullying him too, like it's just against the spirit of the game. I don't like it. I mean, I get that it's, people are like, oh, you got to harden up, but it's like, yeah, okay. But I mean, this is someone's mental health. Like, look at Naomi Osaka. Like, she retired, or not retired, but she's taking another break from tennis because of the mental stress and the, pressure she's under. And it's like, I hope it doesn't come to that with Bryson because, it's a lot. He hears it all day. I mean, I hear it all day. I was at the Travelers Championship, the BMW and the Northern Trust, and that's all I heard. All I heard was Brooksy, 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 Brooksy. And it's just irritating. And I'm not even the one being bullied, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't condone any harassment. And then when it crosses the line where it's just not fun or funny anymore, then that's where I have a problem with it. I think with this whole situation, if Bryson was not involved in it at all, then I would probably feel really, really bad for him. Like with Naomi Osaka, I mean, she basically put the press, she put out her,
Oh, but she's not asking for it. Like,
yeah, she's not asking for it. She never
stupid.
like, there's never like any back and forth.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It was a great comparison because with Bryson and Brooks, there was that continuous back and forth. And I think they were doing it for the pit money. And it's kind of like, okay, if you're putting yourself out there, you know that what you're going to do is going to get hate. And, you know, when I first started what I was doing, I was all for anti-bullying, and I felt like it was very unwarranted because I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't doing anything.
You're just existing.
I was just existing, and it was happening to me, and I felt like it was very unfair. But now I do deserve some of it. You know, like I will put things, I'll put things out there, and I know I'm going to get a certain reaction from it. I know that there's going to be people who dislike a take that I have on Twitter, but I know that going into it. And it's almost like if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. So he can't say, I want to participate in this back and forth with Brooks. And then when it comes back on him, be like, I don't want to deal with this. Go to the tour, say this is not okay. And then in his press conference, be like, I'm not bothered by this one bit. It's like, there's just a lack of honesty with him. And I think, again, this goes back to like why people tend to dislike him a little bit. He's not very genuine or authentic. I think if he came out in a press conference and said, you know what? This really fucking sucks. Like, it's not fun anymore. We want this to be fun. We like the back and forth, but you guys are taking it a step too far. Like, let's do this in a fun way where we can still have that rivalry, but I don't like how this is going. And I think people would probably respect him a lot more compared to just being a bit fake about it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think it's another example of that is when I think it was at the Open and they were like, why don't you yell for? And he's like, I do yell for. What kind of question is that? And it's like, no, Bryson, actually, you can take this time and say, well, you know what? Yeah, I haven't been great about yelling for in the past. I get frustrated. You know, I'm not really thinking straight. I'll be more cognizant of it going forward. And I want to say last week at the BMW on TV, I heard him yell for like 2 or 3 times. And that's the most I really ever heard him yell for. And that's great. But like, you just need to kind of own up to stuff. Like, don't gaslight people. Like, don't act like you're not doing anything wrong. Like, I'm the first person to admit, I'm like, I say things that I don't always mean. Like, I do stupid things, but like, I don't do it with malice. Like, and I don't think Bryson does it with malice. I just think Bryson needs to, like, I don't know, maybe go to like a therapist or something. I mean, it helped me, it might help him. I don't know. But
I'm all for therapy, but you're right. I think he just sometimes doesn't handle the situations in the right way. And I do feel bad for him because one, I don't think he can always control. It's almost like a Bubba Watson situation where like he's come out later and be like, you know, I was just dealing with a ton of shit and I didn't really like the way I was acting. I didn't really like who I was. And I don't know if Bryson's like that or if he is actually completely unfazed. I can't quite, you know, like figure him out. But again, it's just, I wish his team protected him maybe a little bit more, or they like helped him through these situations. Cause we need him. We need Bryson in golf because he's something that we all talk about. He's good for the game. He's different. And I don't want him to be bullied to the point where he becomes this robot like everyone else out there. Like, we need people who push boundaries, who say weird things at weird times, because then we're talking about, you know, Tony Finau's, you know, McDonald's run. And I don't want to talk about that. Like, that's boring for golf. We need bigger stories.
I know everyone's like, he went and got McDonald's at 3 a.m. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure he's the first person from Utah to ever be up past like 1 a.m. Like, that's news in itself. But like, you know, I do that all the time. Like,
it's like, did you meet me in college? I mean, come on.
Did you know me when I lived in Florida? Like, no. But yeah, I don't know. I hope like, I almost called him Brooks. Bryson like kind of just chills out and kind of figures it out. And like you said, I hope he has the right people around him. Like, I think it was telling it, was it the Open when he was like, this driver sucks. And the guy from Cobra was like, all right, I'm gonna put you in your place right now, real quick. Sorry about that. But it's like, that kind of is telling, like, maybe his team also is like, just put him in his place. Like, don't fire him, just give it right back. So I don't know. It's interesting, whatever strategy is going on. Cause you know, with anyone else, there's no chance that company, that the club company would go out and say, he acts like a child. He acts like a 5-year-old half the time. Like, he's acting like a crazy person. So I think that was really telling too. I was just like, I don't know. It was like dirty laundry. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Kind of liked it.
I did too, but it was weird. I was like, I don't know how to like react.
And I don't think people know how to react to him either. But again, like these are all massive stories that have happened this year. I would say the biggest storylines of the year it's always Bryson. It's always surrounding Bryson because it's interesting and it's fun to talk about. And it's something that's like different and new. And so again, I don't want people to get to that point where, something does bad happened to Bryson where he, just can't take it anymore and he wants to quit golf or he doesn't want to do it anymore because we do need him in the game. I don't think that the tour handled it the right way. I mean, just coming out and saying we're banning the word Brooksy and then no other actions surrounding it, that doesn't fix the big problem, which is harassment of Bryson, him not feeling either probably comfortable or safe or that he can do his job. But it's not the word Brooksy, and the way that they worded it and the way that they put it out was just the complete wrong thing to do.
Yeah, like there was a way for them to put it out there without targeting Bryson and just saying like any harassment, any bullying, any name calling of anyone here, you're going to get out. I mean, people, what was it? Someone said like get in the water to Justin's ball and he's like, you're out of here, or, JT's ball. And like, that's the thing. Like it should be more like that. It's like you say something that pisses off the players, get out. Like they're, at the end of the day, like the tour, like the lowest people on the totem pole for the tour are the fans. Like, even though it shouldn't be that way, they don't really care. So it's I don't know. They should have just made it a blanket of like, don't harass the players, don't be a dick, then you're good.
Yeah. Well, and then we saw a lot of players on social media making jokes about it. And and even the tour, I mean, now that the players are, making fun of Bryson too. I mean, the way that you got to feel almost bad for Bryson at this point. No. So you had James Hahn come out and say something, Lee West, but all of these guys are coming out and like making fun of the situation. And it doesn't even seem like they have really Bryson's back, except for Rory said something nice about him. But that was pretty much it. I mean, even Patrick Cantlay in his press conference said, well, kind of deserves it, by the way he's acting and, the kind of the back and forth and that he wants attention. This is what you get with attention. So no one is backing Bryson right now.
Yeah. And the thing is, Bryson's at least the only player actively that I know of right now who's denying all interviews from anyone that's not like PGA Tour Radio, Golf Channel, and NBC. Like, no, he's not talking to anyone. I don't even know if he's talking to golf.com. And I know they have a deal with him. So like, it's just no one else is acting like that. It's like the media is not shitting on Bryson. Like anytime I tweet anything, like I could just put a statement out like Bryson hit it right on 15 and people will be like, why are you and the media shitting on Bryson? Why do you hate Bryson? And I'm like, I don't hate Bryson. He did something. And I commented on it. Like, I don't, it's just, people are just nuts. Like, they're just angry. Like, go take a Xanax.
I know. But, it's interesting because you compare golf to other sporting events. And I touched on this a little bit. It's harder with golf because the fans are so much closer. But when you go to other sporting events, you literally USUP chants will break out in a huge stadium against one player. That's just kind of normal in a sports environment. So if you want more people to get into the game of golf, I know that golf is different. We need to,
it's a quiet sport. That's the thing.
Exactly. But like, we still want people to come in and have it be like a fun environment. Do you think that the golfers need to be a little tougher? Do you think that this is, something that they want because they're profiting off of this? They're making millions of dollars by those ticket sales. So do they just deal with it? Or is this something that needs to change and like the greater good of, keeping golf the way that it is?
Both. I think there needs to be kind of like a transformation of the culture of just being a dick and like, just being like that. Like, you don't need to be like that. Like, you're not proving that your penis is any larger than anyone else's by acting like a jackass.
Well, it just shows that your penis is small if you're saying that out loud.
Mm-hmm. Like, don't go drive off in your lifted truck in your tinted windows with your tiny penis. Like, I think that there needs to be like that cultural shift of just disrespecting people. Like you said, the golf fans are so close. You can look the golfer in the eyes. Like, that's the difference between golf and another sport, is that you can look them in the eyes. I mean, okay, basketball, you can look people in the eyes, but it's loud. You don't hear everything. You're really just kind of listening to the court. Like, you're listening to your teammates and whatever. And I don't know. Golf's not a place to yell. Okay. Like, you can clap, but you don't need to yell. There's no yelling in golf. I mean, that's just my take. Like, I'm a very traditional person when it like comes to golf, because I don't really want there to ever be like a tournament where people are walking up to the hole and there's just people are like blaring rap music or rock music or something. Like, that's not my version of fun for golf. Like, I mean, if it gets fans involved, like, that's great. But I'm like one of those people where I'm just like, let's just be respectful. You know, it's like a gentleman's game, just like with the Solheim Cup when people were like, they should have conceded the next hole. And I'm like, that is the dumbest fucking take I have ever heard.
We'll get into that a little bit later because that was insane. But I get what you're saying. Like,
stuff.
Yeah, I'm on the fence because I do like to be a little untraditional, and to get more people into the game, I think it has to be like a mix of both of those, you know, where there's more entertainment involved in it. Because if you don't like golf, you're not just going to go and sit there and watch golf. It can be a bit boring. So there needs to be other things going on. But I will say, I have never stood in a crowd at a golf tournament and had someone yell like mashed potatoes or Brooksy. That would not turn me on in any way possible. Nothing. Like, I would not be impressed by that guy and be like, oh my God, take my pants off. He just yelled mashed potatoes in a crowd. Like, that's my man. Like, I would never do that. And I've been around other people and they all think you're an idiot. So if you think that you want to yell something, don't yell something stupid or mean, because you just look like the jackass. Like, you can yell things and have them be hilarious and funny, and you can make the tour player laugh too. So if you want to yell, be creative with it. Say something funny and like make other people laugh. Like, yelling stupid things does not make you the man. If you yell something that's funny, the tour player's probably going to come up. They could probably come up and give you something or laugh or do something and have a positive interaction than you getting kicked out. So again, I'm not like against yelling. If it's something that's funny and like kind of lightens the mood, then go for it. But don't be the jackass who yells like mashed potatoes, baba booey, whatever the fuck they're yelling now. And like, especially like Brooksy, be creative, yell something different. Do something different, better.
I know, like in Europe, you don't really hear the weird things they'd yell, but if they did yell, they'd be yelling things like free healthcare and cleaner energy and like all that stuff. So I think Europe should start yelling just to see like what we would hear out of them. Like beef stroganoff, like all these fancy things, and we're over here yelling mashed potatoes, KFC. Like, no.
They do it like so fancy too, and it wouldn't be like a yell; it'd be just like politely talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm sure that's going to be a very interesting development for the Ryder Cup as well. I mean, it's going to be rowdy there already. So kind of worried for Bryson, how people are going to treat him. I feel like even the USA fans are going to be against Bryson.
You know what? I have a feeling that will be a week that Bryson, as long as he plays well and isn't like talking about his world long drive stuff or trying to like practice 210 ball speed on the golf course at Whistling Straits, I think he could have a really good week. Like, was it the President's Cup when he was like up there singing with the fans or whatever in the stands, and like he looked like he was having fun, you know? So I think like if he embraces the crowd at the Ryder Cup, they will so embrace him. And I think they want to embrace him. It's like, you know, Patrick Reed, he might not be able to be our like villain this year. You know, we might need Bryson, even though he doesn't have a great match play record. I think if Bryson just continues to play the way he's been playing and doesn't try to do anything crazy, he could actually be a huge asset for the US team.
Yeah, it'd be like his redemption tour. I mean,
yes,
because we would see that with Patrick Reed a lot, where, you know, he wasn't very liked, but everyone loves him during team events, and he became Captain America, and that was kind of his thing. And it would be cool to see Bryson turn that around, play really well, and really embrace the environment. I would love to see, and I don't even know if Brooks is going to play because he had a wrist injury in the Tour Championship and he had to withdraw, which is kind of sad, but Brooks Bryson pairing, I think it would be amazing, and it would just kind of bury the hatchet. They can move forward. I think it would be great. I think it'd be great.
I agree, but I think that's something you save for next year's President's Cup to get the viewers up. You know, just get more people watching it. It's like Ryder Cup, we're gonna watch anyway. And like the Ryder Cup's too important, you know. It's like if they go out there and just suck together and lose 9 and 8. Like, it's the Ryder Cup. It actually matters. The President's Cup. It's like, yeah, go ahead. Take Justin Rose. He was born in South Africa. Yeah, you can have him. Like, President's Cup is kind of anything goes, you know?
I know. So, okay, with the Ryder Cup coming up, everyone's been talking about who Steve Stricker is going to pick. I I'm not too sure. It's going to be very interesting now because if Brooks can't play, then they're going to have to find another person to replace Brooks. And then Patrick Reed was, as he would say, fighting death in the hospital. So I'm sure he's not going to be up to playing either. So there's now 2 more spots that I thought were going to be already taken.
So the thing with Reed, when he withdrew from the Northern Trust, I went out and found someone on his team and was like, really have an ankle injury? Like, what's going on? They're like, no, he really did. He hurt his ankle. He wouldn't pull out of this. One of the things that had like kind of given him the confidence to not play that week before getting like double pneumonia or whatever was knowing that he was going to be on the team. So I would be absolutely shocked after like hearing that, just knowing Patrick Reed's record, knowing he's feeling better and stuff. I assume he'll be on the team, but you got to think with COVID this year, are they going to pick extra players? Like, are they going to have extra alternates or something just because like right before the Olympics, how many guys dropped like flies? Like, just before the British Open, people are dropping like flies. So this will be interesting. I don't know what the testing policies are going to be. I mean, I'm sure Europe's are going to be a lot more strict than the US. I'm sure they're going to be doing more testing stuff, but it'll be interesting, I think, with Patrick Reed. But I definitely think he'll be on the team.
Okay. And do you think Brooks will make a recovery?
I don't know. See, I don't know how bad the wrist injury was. Like, that's the thing. He has what, two weeks now from until that. So I think he will probably be fine. He's had the wrist injury in the past. Like, I don't know. I think he'll be fine. I would be shocked also if he didn't play, but like you said, you never know. Like, it really could be bad. But it was what, he hit a tree root on a
tree root,
Sunday or Saturday?
Then just withdrew right after. I'm team Kevin Na. I think Kevin Na should be on the team. He is one of those players that you would hate playing match play against because he just makes everything. And just watching him walk in putts would be so infuriating. I think he has to make the team for sure.
He does. But I thought the pivot from, it's like everyone forgot that Kevin Kisner was even a human last week. Like after Kevin Na like shows up, and Kevin Na's been so good this season. I think he's been totally underrated this season. But it's like as soon as Kevin Na starts playing well, people were like, Kevin who? Who's Kevin Kisner? Who's Kevin Kisner? But I think Kevin Kisner should be on the team. I think Kevin Kisner, Harris English, and what's his face? Sorry, Kevin Kisner. Kevin Na would be a good pick. I think those 3 would be good picks. Like the US needs to pick guys that are 1, going to play well, and 2, going to get along with each other. And I don't really think the ego is there as much for Kevin Kisner and Harris English. I don't know about Kevin Na, but just like not as much ego there. I don't know. I think that would be like a good little addition to the team. But
I mean, because everyone's talking about team chemistry and how everyone's worried about that because obviously like Patrick Cantlay and Bryson have their thing, Brooks and Bryson have their thing, Brooks and DJ kind of have a weird thing, and
everyone has a weird thing with everyone.
Yeah, it's weird to see, like, you do need those guys on the team who are going to like lighten the mood and make it more enjoyable. And do you think that not having Brooks on the team might actually be better for team chemistry?
You know what? That's a great question. I didn't even think about it. It really could be, because you kind of notice it almost seems like Brooks is sometimes kind of like the instigator of stuff. He kind of is just like the bully. And like, what is it? He took DJ's like training or whatever, strength coach. He took a bunch of guys from DJ and stuff, and that he like met through DJ and was like, oh, mine now. So it just, I don't know. I don't like those kind of people, but it might be interesting without Brooks. I'd have to look up his record. I don't think it's anything phenomenal. Like in match play, he's not, like a sweep in the singles. So I don't know. That's a good question. What do you think?
I think it could go both ways. I think if he's kind of in a mood of wanting to instigate, it could cause some problems. I feel like he could tend to be more of like the ringleader. And so if guys want to be either liked by Brooks, then maybe they won't go out of their way to be friendly to Bryson. And if Brooks isn't there, then maybe they'll do a better job of like including Bryson, because whatever way you try to make the situation better, it's going to be awkward between the two of them. And like the team energy is just going to be a little bit awkward. And I think removing maybe one person could be better. But, you know, I don't know either of them well personally. So this could all be for show. And who actually knows like what their real relationship is. So it could be fine. I would love to see him on the team. I think that, you know, directing his hate from Bryson over to Team Europe could be really fun.
Put all the hate on Paul Casey. And then
like having him throw jabs and, you know, watching him destroy them on social media could be really fun. And I do like that part of Brooks, and I'm definitely Team Brooks in the whole situation. So I would like to see him on the team, but by team chemistry, removing one of them, I think, would make it better. I think removing Bryson would probably be the best situation, but you can't do that.
Yeah, but you know, Bryson's just playing so well right now.
I know.
Though. Like he really is. Like he shocked me going into the playoffs. Like I really didn't expect much out of him because I really thought he was just going to be focused on this long drive stuff. And it's a different swing. And you know that. Like, you know, I'm sure people who have never watched World Long Drive have no idea. It's a different effing swing. Like it's not the same swing you hit with your driver when you're trying to nuke it down a par 5. Like it's a different sport. Like it's just different. So I think as long as Bryson just has his focus in the right place this week, the week of the Ryder Cup, I think he could be a great teammate. Like, but also there's a lot of guys on the team that are just so nice. Like Xander. Who has a problem with Xander? No one. Who has a problem with, like, actually if Jordan Spieth gets picked, who has a problem with Jordan Spieth? Like, or is he automatically, or is he a pick? I get so confused.
He's going to be a pick.
That's right.
But he's pretty much locked in. I can't see a team without Spieth. Yeah, no, I can't.
And it's like a shame this year we don't have Ricky. Is Ricky going to be like at the event as a cart driver or something? I remember he said, no, he did. He like offered. He's like, you know, I'd be there to drive the cart around. And I was like, you know, he's a good person to have there. You know, like there are so many great like guys on the US team, but you just look at Europe and they just all get along so well. It's like they're all just kind of like with their crooked teeth and, you know, and I love them. I don't mean that in a bad way. There's like this lack of ego there. And it's just, they're just more down to earth. And I think that's why they can really put anyone on the team and have a great result. Like they don't have to put the top. Like they can, you know, have more leniency with their picks. Who's someone that's going to work really well with the team? Who's someone that gets along with people, who's been in this situation before? Whereas America, it's kind of like, okay, we just got to pick whoever's at the top of the points. And in the Europe's points list is different too. They go off of, I think, world ranking and race to Dubai points or something. And then, or like the Euro points and then the world ranking points. And then we go off of whatever other points. So they have a different system. They have like a 6 and 6 or something. I don't know.
Well, it'll be really interesting to see what happens. And like you're talking about, there's so much talent right now on Team USA. Like there are so many great American players. And I saw someone mention this the other day. Well, yesterday, not the other day, literally yesterday. I saw this on Twitter.
3 years ago.
you do that. Or like my friend, I'm like, I've never met this person online.
It just choked up my water. I know. I'm like,
it's like, I read this fact somewhere, and it's like I found it on TikTok.
Exactly.
But it's also would say that Patrick Cantlay is the best American player right now, and I don't know if I agree with that or not. I know that he just won the FedEx Cup and the Tour Championship and the week before, but it's like right now, like as of today, yes, he probably is the best American player, but as a whole, no, he's not.
Think that's the thing. It's so hard to like figure that out with players that are younger, like that haven't been on tour for 10, 15 years, that haven't won like multiple majors. It's like right now, like golf is so cyclical. So right this second, Patrick Cantlay is playing the best golf of anyone. Come 2 weeks, who knows? Who knows if that momentum, if that energy is going to have worn off? Who knows if going into the Ryder Cup, he's going to like go off and play even better? Like, it's just, golf is one of those games where it's like, everyone has such a short memory and everyone only thinks about the week before and whatever the week before's results were. That's obviously what's going to be the next week. And it's like, no, you got to, you know, take into account everything else that, you know, goes into it. And you know that with the betting stuff. And, you know, it's easy to be like, oh, well, Kevin Na played really well last week. He has to be on the Ryder Cup team, but who knows? Like maybe Steve Stricker's like looking at a formula, like, you know what? This guy pairs better with 5 of these guys. So I have these options, and say someone gets sick with COVID or someone has to pull out. Like, so I just think like it's just so hard to say like Patrick Cantlay's the best American player right now, like of all the players or whatever. It's like, okay, but we need like, we need a longer period of time, but he does have 4 wins on the season this year. Yeah. So I don't know. And he's the only person that's been able to take down John Rahm. Granted, COVID kind of helped him at the Memorial, but he still took John Rahm down this week and he held him off. Like John Rahm was only 1 shot back with a 2 or 3 shot deficit going into it. So
yeah, I mean, they were saying that about Xander Schauffele after he won Olympic gold. They're like, Xander's the best American player. And so it's like every single week, it's always changing. I'm gonna, it like hurts me to say this, but I think that Bryson has it hurts. Like it actually, like I'm physically
it's okay. It's
hurting
almost
saying this.
Put some ice on it.
When you look at potential, I think that Bryson has the biggest runway to be successful out of all of the US players right now. And I think maybe that's why he gets a lot of hate, is because people can see how good he actually is, and what he does is different than other players. And it's impressive what he does. And I think out of all of them right now, he's going to win the most majors.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Bryson just needs to be more consistent with his putter. Like watching him try to putt at Caves, well, I was just like, dude, you can't. He missed 6 feet for 59, right? He made that putt, he wouldn't have been in the playoff, but then he went on to miss like 2 or 3 other 4-foot putts just to win on Sunday in the regular round and then in the playoff. So he just needs to figure out a way to putt. But like what he did with his long game is incredible. What was it after the President's Cup? Around the President's Cup, he's like, I'm going to gain 50 pounds and I'm going to totally overhaul my game. And he did it. And he's won a major since doing it. So whatever he's doing is working. He just needs to learn how to putt.
And chip kind of has chipping hips.
You know, it's the single length shaft that drives me nuts in his set. You can't chip with that. Like there's no feel. Like I get it. You're a professional. He knows better than I do about his own game, but I think that the shaft length has to be holding him back a little bit there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, his wedge game, anything from 100 in, he definitely needs to work on that. It's like when Dustin Johnson was really struggling with his wedges and his putting, and then he kind of, got it all together and he was unstoppable. And I think we're going to see that from Bryson. But I think if he changes the length of the shafts, he would improve like drastically on his short game. Can you imagine hitting like a bunker shot with like a 6-iron shaft?
I know. Even just in practice, like I'm sure there's going to be some benefit in practice from practicing with either a shorter club or a longer club or something, just to kind of like, I don't know. It freaks me out. I would not be able to pull out like a 7-iron, the length of a 5-iron and be like, know what club. Like, I'm used to the length and the loft of the face. Like when I look at it, it's like it's a 2-for-1 kind of thing. I can't have one or the other. It's gonna freak me out.
I mean, it's been a really crazy year of golf. An amazing year of golf. I would say this is one of the best years that we've ever had. And with the Tour Championship ending, congratulations to Patrick Cantlay for winning $15 million. But what were some of your favorite moments of this year in golf?
You know what? This year has been so fun. I started the season out in Vegas for the CJ Cup, and that was such an awesome experience, getting to be out there without fans and just kind of getting to know people in golf a little bit better, because I hadn't been out there because of COVID and stuff, and doing it with Action Network. So that was really cool. So I want to say like CJ Cup was such a fun week. We had a great run in the winter. So many players were playing well. We had a lot of European players playing really well January, February. I really thought we were going to have some insane like English takeover on the tour. And then it kind of like, but come June, it kind of like wore down. But all of the majors this year were incredible. Hideki Matsuyama winning the first one, and what's his face winning the most recent. Like it's been a great season. I can't pick like one moment that I liked the most. What was your favorite?
I mean, Phil winning the PGA was just out of left field.
That was crazy.
That was just crazy. And that whole tournament too, with like the back and forth with Brooks and, him, I mean, Phil almost completely choking and then still getting it done. And like Phil's year has been terrible. And I can say this because he's blocked me now, but his year besides that win. Oh yeah, he blocked me, unblocked me, and then blocked me again. So I can say whatever I want about him now. But his year besides that win has been terrible. So it literally came out of nowhere that he ended up winning there. So that was really one of my favorite moments. I would say all the playoffs that we had, that playoff between Patrick and Bryson was one of my favorite playoffs that I have ever seen. That was incredible. But literally every single week we were having a playoff. I love the first time winners. That was always fun to watch. I can't think of like one bad week of golf, even when it was like the fucking Wyndham Championship ended up being a great tournament. Every tournament ended up being amazing this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is. It's hard to like, there were a couple weeks, I would say the last like kind of few weeks, just get like between the Olympics and just getting to the FedEx Cup playoffs and then, you know, trying to get to the Ryder Cup. Like I've been kind of burned out because I'm like, I just need like, I'm not as excited to watch golf as I usually am. Like I love watching golf, but like right now I'm like, I just really want to watch the Euro Tour. I have no interest watching the PGA. Like I just like, I need a break from like the same names, the same silhouettes. Like I just need
something different.
Break.
No, I would agree with that. I'd say before we take a break, who was your biggest surprise of this year and biggest letdown player?
Ooh. Biggest surprise, I want to say like Colin Morikawa. Like he's so talented, but then when he just went in and won the Open, I just kind of, I was like, oh, like I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was a multiple different major holder, like as a 24-year-old good. So I think that was exciting. I want to say one of the letdowns, maybe Patrick Reed. Like after July, he stopped giving us January, he stopped with the drama. So I don't know. I haven't really heard anything from him. So that's kind of a letdown.
I do kind of miss that. I would say my biggest surprise would be Harris English getting it done. Like winning a lot and playing well consistently, like week after week, always being there. I think he's a guy that, you know, not a lot of people knew of before this year, and he just was getting it done all the time. So I think that was a big surprise for me. Also, Xander and Tony winning again after choking a lot. It was good to see them win. Biggest letdown, Rory McIlroy. He just like,
I love Rory.
I know. And I love Rory and I want him to play well. And I always have such high hopes for him to get it done. And he just isn't getting it done. And it's sad to see because he gives the best interviews. He seems like one of the nicest guys he is. And you just want to root for him and want him to play well. And when he's on, he's better than everyone else. And so I don't know if it's like a lack of motivation or he just doesn't want it as much as he used to. But it's just hard to see him not always be at the top every single week.
Yeah, I just think Rory, actually, speaking of just one of the greatest golfers, I think Rory is quite possibly one of the most talented golfers ever to play the game. Like, I don't care if he never wins another tournament again. I don't care if he like never does anything. He's so talented and he's such a great ambassador for the game. He's so thoughtful, and the way he's able to admit when he's wrong. You know, he wasn't big on going to the Olympics, you know, with the Zika stuff going on last time. This year he was like, I don't really want to do it, but I'm going to do it. And he got there. He said, you know what? I was wrong. I changed my tune. You know, it's same thing happened in 2010 when he played in the first Ryder Cup, and he's like, I don't really get the hype, whatever. And he's like, this is the greatest week of my life. And he made comments this week where he's like, I don't know if I, you know, what a Ryder Cup captain really does, because they don't hit the shots. And I think in 10, 15, 20 years, I think we're going to hear Rory say, you know what, being a Ryder Cup captain is one of the greatest honors of my life. And I, you know, helped to build the teams and do this. And I think he'll see that there's a lot more that goes into it. And I love hearing Rory talk. John Rahm's another guy who's been very thoughtful in the things he says. Like, I really enjoyed listening to Rahm talk. Like, he, with all the COVID stuff, he never once blamed anyone. He took responsibility. He did what he was supposed to do. You know, he's like, you know, I went and got vaccinated afterwards and stuff, which is great. You know, he said he did. Who knows if he did? But like, his comments about it, like, I'm so sorry to let you, like, let everyone down. I really hope to be back, like all of that stuff. Whereas, you know, Bryson's like, oh, I just didn't get the vaccine because I'm saving it for people. I'm like, we're not in Australia. We don't have a vaccine shortage. Like, you've been eligible for like 3 months. If you don't want to get the vaccine, just
say you don't want to get, again, that goes back to what we were talking about, where it's like,
we're going to
just be
criticize
honest.
you either way. At
Yeah,
least let
just
us
be
criticize
honest.
the truth and let us respect that you're telling us the truth.
Yeah, I agree
Like-
with that too. And well, even when Rom couldn't play in the Olympics, he's had so many bad breaks
I know
this year, and he's handled all of them so perfectly.
Exactly. And I don't know if like we expected to see that from Rom, because he's like, he gets really upset on the golf course, which is fine. He gets upset and that's how he motivates himself.
But he's
I don't
not
have
really
an
a
issue with
hothead
that.
this year either.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, we always picture Rom as being this like hothead, can't, control him. He's
always
not like
respectful
that.
to his caddy, Adam. He's
Yeah.
respectful to the people around him. I don't care if he gets mad himself. Like,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Okay, so we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about Solheim Cup and a couple other things. What do you want from your sportsbook? The best odds, daily personalized promotions, same game parlays you can boost for even bigger payouts? How about a faster app with easier withdrawals and complete security? Sounds like you don't want to just bet. You want to live your bet life. When you bet with PointsBet, you get better odds and bigger payouts all in a fast and reliable sportsbook. So download the app now and sign up with code PAGE2K to get your first bet risk-free up to $2,000. T's and C's apply. Void where prohibited. Must be 21 years older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
Let's take a quick break to tell you about Wheatley Vodka. It's a 10 times distilled, triple filtered vodka made at Buffalo Trace. Buffalo Trace is doing some amazing stuff. The world's most award-winning distillery. And this craft vodka is made in small batches, and it's perfect for a mid-round or a post-round cocktail with friends. And this wasn't in the copy, but I'm just going to suggest it. A pre-round Wheatley. Maybe you're a guy that gets a little nervous. Maybe you're a girl that doesn't love the first hole. Have a Wheatley vodka, mix it with a little tonic water. You can drink it straight. That's how great this stuff is. Maybe throw a lime in there, squeeze the lime in. Maybe just a little lime juice. I'd even suggest a lemon, much like my wife always goes with the lemon. Just water, a little bit of water, and Wheatley vodka with some ice cubes, and that is the way to go. Buffalo Trace, again, they're just so amazing. Every product they make, especially this Wheatley vodka, and we mentioned the 10 times distilled, triple filtered for an unbelievably smooth taste. So smooth that you can even sip it straight. Oh, yes, you can sip it straight. That is not what you would do with some of the college vodka we drank back in our day, but you can definitely do it with Wheatley vodka. Order now on Drizzly or find it at a local liquor store or golf course near you. Wheatley vodka doing amazing stuff. This is how a vodka is supposed to taste.
Paige Renee here. I don't know about you guys, but I've been seeing Blue Tees golf rangefinders everywhere on Instagram, and the other day I finally pulled the trigger and got myself one of the Series 2 Pros. After testing it out on the course, which I play a lot of golf now, and I'm playing quite well because I actually have the real yardages. I know with other rangefinders, it's hard. You shoot like the back of the hill or the green, and you fly it, and it's a whole problem, but not with Blue Tees. So after testing it on the course and playing a few rounds with it, I can honestly say I love this rangefinder. It's insanely accurate, which is really important because normally when I'm using rangefinders, I tend to shoot the back of the hill or tree and never find the flag, but not with Blue Tees. If you're not familiar, slope technology gives you the distance to the flagstick and takes into account the incline or decline of the hole, so you can always pick the right club. And starting at under $200, I think these are the best value rangefinders on the market. I also must say I'm so happy that someone has finally built a rangefinder that has some serious style, because that's all I'm about. If you ever get one, you're going to fall in love with the packaging and the look and the performance of the rangefinder. The Blue Tees team is really onto something, and I can't wait to see what they put out next. So, if you're on the market for a new rangefinder, head over to blueteesgolf.com and use code PAGE at checkout for 10% off. And we're back, and we're going to talk about women's golf, which I don't normally do on this podcast, and I get a ton of shit from you guys about it. You guys know that I've had my issues with LPGA in the past, and I just feel weird sometimes talking about it because they don't always want me to talk about it, but I've decided that for the betterment of the game that I should discuss it. I put out a tweet a couple days ago telling everyone about the Solheim Cup, and you seem to enjoy it. So we'll just continue on with women's golf. I have really been enjoying the Solheim Cup. I think it's been really great golf. I've loved the back and forth. There's been a lot of drama, and it really seems like the players are embracing the environment and having fans there. And you know, the people there too seem to be having like so much fun, and I don't think people realize how good these girls really are. They are incredible players, and I think if you put them on a course equivalent to men, they're better as a whole, because the courses they're playing are longer than the golf courses that the guys are playing. There's a ton of research on it. It's actually really interesting, but the golf has been incredible.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch. I have issues like watching team events because every time they like announce someone or do something, I get like goosebumps and I feel like I'm gonna cry, and I'm like, this is really weird. Same thing when I watch the Olympics. Like certain things I just have to turn it off. I'm like, I love it, like I love to watch it, but I need to get past like the like I don't know, it makes me like too emotional. I don't know, I'm like broken, but it's been a lot of fun to watch. I mean, it's the Solheim Cup, so there's always some kind of like rules controversy, but I mean, it keeps things interesting.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. So Team Europe, they got a little bit of trouble. So there was a putt from Team USA that was hanging right on the lip, and Team Europe went and picked it up before the allotted time. So you have like 7 or 10 seconds before 10 seconds before the ball could drop in or not. So you just have to leave it there. And she picked it up before that. And so they determined that it was a loss of hole. And this caused quite a stir on social media, mixed opinions. I was surprised with how many people were saying that Team USA should have conceded the next hole, so it would have evened everything out, which is just bizarro to me. Why would you do that? I mean, she picked the ball up before. Yeah, she picked the ball up before the allotted time. That she did the wrong thing. I know it probably there wasn't any malice behind it, or she probably tried to do it to, or maybe I don't know. I mean, why would you pick it up? I don't know.
Because it didn't look like it was hanging over. There was no chance that ball was going in the hole. I mean, I like saw a close up of it, and it was like maybe 2 millimeters hanging over. I mean, it was just such a stupid thing, because I don't think Nelly thought her putt was going to fall. So when she gave her the putt, Nelly didn't even care. So I think that was ridiculous. I think it was a bit of an overeager rules official.
I don't get it. So do you think they should have just handled it as is? Like, she picked up the ball, that was, her saying it's good and moving on to the next hole. So you think the rules official shouldn't have gotten involved in that?
I don't think the rules official should have gotten involved. But then again, I mean, golf is a sport that's, governed by rules. However, it's like a self-governing sport, right? Like, if you think that there's an issue, you call a rules official over. Like, I can't really think of any time in golf when a rules official has just come over on their own. I mean, I'm sure there is. Oh no, obviously, but like, I guess like whenever there's like a rule, like a score change on a hole because of a penalty or whatever. But like, I don't know. Apparently, someone who was like a tour, yeah, your dog's really upset about this ruling too.
Yeah, he's like, what are they talking about?
But apparently, like, someone who else was like a rules official called the other rules official, and then that's why she stopped it. But like, it was just ridiculous. Like, it wasn't really something that the players who were standing there could see. I think it's ridiculous, and even more ridiculous than just that ruling and overeager rules official is anyone suggesting that the United States should have any way, shape, or form conceded the next hole. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, at the end of the day, I know it's golf, but it's like, it's competition. You want to win. You want to win. And it's just kind of like,
And half of golf is
You
just
get good
not
breaks.
breaking the rules. Like
Yeah,
knowing
yeah.
the rule.
Yeah, I mean, you get good breaks, you get bad breaks, and it was
Yeah.
just a bad break for them. And there's no way they should have conceded the next hole to then make it all fair. It's not. I don't like that. I hate that.
Yeah, and I do genuinely feel awful for Team Europe. Like I
Yeah.
think like I did not know that rule. I mean, did you know that rule that if it's anywhere near the hole, you can't like pick it up if it's hanging over and not going to fall in? Like, did you know that?
No,
I
had
didn't
no
either.
idea.
So I don't think that the other two girls that were there would have known. I mean, they in no way like picked the. I feel so bad that they had to like be on that end of that, but at the same time, like when people are calling like anyone a cheater, like Nelly a cheater, or it's like or cheating rules official, I'm like, that's an oxymoron. That doesn't work. So I don't know. I just think people need to, like I said earlier, take a Xanax.
I will say that when I was doing match play, I really hated when my competitor would pick up my ball for me.
Really?
I hated that. Like, I really hated that. Like, I wanted just to pick it up myself. Like, I don't care if like that's good, but I just felt like it was such a, especially if they like won the hole or if it was time, they're like, that's good. And they like pick it up and hand it to you. I hated that. Like, don't touch my stuff when we're like competing against each other.
Yeah.
So I would have just been irritated that she touched my golf ball before. Like,
that's
funny.
I
had
I'm
a chance to get it.
I'm so lazy that I would have no interest walking that 50 feet from the side of the green over to the hole. I'd be like, give it to me, Cowan. Like, we're good. Thanks.
Because I was thinking, like, if I was in that situation and it looked like it was hanging on the edge, I probably would have wanted to wait the 10 seconds.
Yeah, I think, but it really, like, they zoomed in with the camera. It was,
and it wasn't. Yeah.
I mean, there was no, unless someone came up and like a seagull came up and was like, peck, 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 and it go in the hole. Like, you know, I don't know. It was unfortunate, but now everyone knows
knows the rule. I mean, golf has the worst rules of all time. They're so confusing and so convoluted. It's just like they're vague at times. I don't know. I just don't understand them half the time. It's just like in this certain situation, you have this and then this. And I'm like, I've never read the golf rule book cover to cover.
Yeah, I've tried and I'm like, something weird going on here. I don't get this. I'm like, no, I'm done.
I will say that when I was trying to find the information for the Solheim Cup, it was very difficult.
Really?
Nothing there was really like laid out easily for people to find, like when it's gonna be on TV, who's winning, the results, none of that. I was out when they were playing one of the days and I went online to try to find the results. I could not find the results.
Really?
Anywhere. And I went on their website, the official website. They didn't have live results. I went to so many places and I couldn't find the information.
Wow.
You type in PGA Tour and you have all the scores, like live streaming, everything you could ask for laid out perfectly right there. And they didn't have that for the Solheim Cup. And it just, I don't know who that would be on, but if you want to get more people into watching women's golf, you need to have it be easily accessible. And it really wasn't at all, at least for me.
Yeah, I think that is a good point. I hadn't tried to look because I had seen it on Golf Channel. Like I wake up early and usually try to throw the Euro Tour on. So I was pleasantly surprised on Friday morning when I woke up early and the Solheim Cup was on at 7 or 8 o'clock. And I was like, this is awesome. So it hadn't just kind of been on all day, which is great. But I think I didn't really see anyone like tweeting out like, here are the schedules and here's this and that, which would have been great. Cause every time before a PGA Tour event, I see where I'm streaming it before, I see, where it's going to be after, like, and then where it's going to be if there's a playoff, so it's a shame that an event that has been so great as the Solheim Cup, they have a lot of fans out there this week. A lot of people are watching it. I mean, I think more people are watching than the Tour Championship, and for fans not to be able to find the results or find the information that easily, it kind of defeats the purpose of having like a great event that, it's great. The people there are enjoying it, but what about the people that aren't there and, want to support it and want to watch it? But
do you think that they should have moved the Solheim Cup to next week, so it would have been the only golf event on TV? compared to having it be the week of the Tour Championship?
Yeah, I was curious because it's the same week as the Tour Championship and the Corn Ferry Tour Finals. Like, it's just, it doesn't make a ton of sense. Now, I don't know when the Solheim Cup was scheduled to be played in Toledo. Like, I don't know when they decided the date. I don't know if the PGA Tour schedule this year moved a little bit because of COVID. Like, I don't know. I need to go back and look. I think it would have made more sense for next week when there is no golf going on to have like the Solheim Cup so we can, focus on it. But having the holiday finish, having a Monday finish where all eyes are on the Solheim Cup, I think that is really cool. Like, I'm really looking forward to watching that today.
How do you think that they can progress the LPGA Tour to make it more of a maybe like positive viewing experience? I feel like the Solheim Cup has been very special and it has, a very unique feel to it. But when I watch certain LPGA events, it's just still a bit boring to me. I like the commentators, I don't feel like are as good. I just feel like it lacks a little bit where it's just not as presented as well as like the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like the technological disadvantages or whatever that like the tours that aren't the PGA Tour have, because they don't have shot tracer, they don't have whatever, they have different commentators that who knows why they're using so and so for whatever week. But like, I like Grant Boone. I think he's adorable. He's funny. He says weird things and he just makes me laugh. So I do actually enjoy listening to Grant Boone. But I don't really know what the LPGA Tour could really do any differently other than what they're doing, which is just giving us the best female golfers that there are to watch right now. And like, I think maybe one way it's like giving it a different time slot. And I know that that's an issue because 3 to 6 is, PGA Tour time slot. So on, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday from noon to 3 or from 6 to 9, like that's just not good time slot. So it's just not the time I really want to, watch. Like, I'd rather watch it kind of midday or whatever. Yeah. I think getting more betting eyes on the LPGA Tour is going to be the quickest way to increase their purses. Like, I don't know anything about business, but like, I know there's a lot of money in sports betting right now. And only the last 2 or 3 months have I even been able to find LPGA Tour odds on any of the sports books. So I think that's a good way. Just get more legal odds and people will watch it. I mean, that's how you get me to watch baseball.
It's true. It's always like the chicken or the egg discussion where it's like, if we put them in better time slots, are we going to see an increase in viewership, or do you have to wait until viewership is up to then give them those time slots? And it's like, I don't know how to navigate that or to figure it out. And they're always like, well, if this happens, then this is going to get better. But we have Nelly Korda, who's a young, really great American player, number 1 in the world, which they said we needed that for the longest time. And it still seems pretty steady. I don't feel like there's been like a big increase in women's golf since a lot of this has happened. Do you think there needs to be more kind of drama like the Brooks Bryson situation? There's never any drama within the LPGA Tour. Well, or maybe there is, but they don't talk about it. They don't show it.
I always
document
hear all the drama with the caddies who gets jealous that so and so is going out with their caddy and they have a crush on this caddy, so they want to go out with them. I'm like, I can't keep up with it. But I don't know. I don't know what they should do. I mean, I'll support them in women's golf no matter what. Like, I've noticed a huge increase in support for women's golf, especially the LPGA Tour and the young Americans on Twitter, even like among a lot of our male followers. Like, there are people that are really, really into it. And so I think it's great. Like, I just think golf just needs to keep doing what it's doing. I think women's golf I think it has some really exciting players right now. And I think people are going to want to watch that. Like, you have the player who she swings like Rory McIlroy. Like, she is incredible to watch swing, and it's like, there's just so many talented, crazy, athletic, and just amazing athletes out there. It's just, I really hope that it gets the credit that it deserves, but maybe there needs to be a cultural shift among the tour and cultural in terms of like thinking, like how to put on tournaments or what with the different sponsors and stuff. So I don't know, maybe it's something that they just need to do and, with the commissioner, but I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like with the LPGA Tour, they want it just to be all about the talent of the girls who are playing, and that's going to bring people in. And I think for the hardcore golf fans, that's definitely true. And I like watching women's golf because they're so incredible, especially around the greens, and their short game of putting is just, I mean, and how they hit woods and hybrid. I mean, it's everything they do is so incredible. But at the end of the day, it needs to be entertaining too.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes they're lacking that entertainment aspect of it, and they don't want to ever lean into that side of things. And I think at times you have to, I'm not saying you have to do what I've done and really over sexualize these girls, but you know, what Netflix is going to do with the PGA Tour off of like the Formula One show, they're going to do something with that. The LPGA needs that. Like they need that more than the PGA Tour. And that would be really great to like showcase the different sides of these girls and their personalities and, you know, what they go through day in and day out, and getting to really know these people. Like that is what's important. I think that has always been lacking on tour, because it's like, just come watch us play golf. Just come watch us play golf. No, I want to watch you because I like you as a person and I respect your talent, but I need to know who you are. I need to, because I don't even like watching the guys on tour if I don't know them, or if I don't know something funny about them, or, you know, the drama with them. Like that makes me want to watch them even more, root for certain players. And I don't feel like we have that as much on the LPGA Tour. And Lisa Cornwell put out a very interesting tweet. She said, chew on this for a minute. Lexi Thompson has 11 LPGA Tour wins and 74 top 10s. Meanwhile, Patrick Cantlay just earned $3.6 million more in 1 week than Lexi has earned in her entire career.
Lisa has had a lot of opinions this week. That is all I will say. Yeah, it sucks. The income inequality fucking sucks, and it's terrible. But you know what? The AIG Women's Open just had the largest purse in women's golf. I remember 5 years ago or whatever, when the US Women's Open had the largest purse in women's golf. Like the amount of women's golf we got to watch, what was it, like last year or 2 years ago, commercial free, women's US Open commercial free. Like there are so many incredible things in women's golf, and so many incredible progressions, but yet it's like the money still isn't there. I think betting, if you get betting sponsors, I think money might show up a little bit more with that, but I think it's a shame. I think the amount of money on the PGA Tour is absolutely ridiculous. Like I don't know why any one person needs to make $15 million in 1 week. Granted, if I was given the opportunity, I mean, I'd be all for it, but it's like, you know, I think Lexi Thompson's an incredible athlete who, it just blows my mind that she's made $3.5 million less in her entire career than Patrick Cantlay did this entire week. But I just think like harping on stuff and being like, and pointing out like just the different sides of the spectrum doesn't always achieve the results.
I don't think it's always like a man-woman issue, you know, either. I think this is a product issue. If you look at the products, you're not going to make as much money if your product isn't as good or as desirable. And I think it goes back to what I said about making broadcasting or entertaining, putting more effort in. And then it goes back to, again, you know, the chicken, well, do you need money to make it better? And then do you need this? But there's so many things that they could do on social media, which I don't feel like they've utilized. And that's always been, you know, a big problem for me. It's like, you can live stream it. You can get more influencers involved. You can do things, but I don't feel like they really want that kind of help. And I hate these videos where they force these tour players to wish the girls good luck. It just doesn't sit right with me. I almost feel like they're doing it because they feel like they have to do it. And it just doesn't seem very like genuine or authentic. And I don't like how it's like you have to rely on them to get people to, you know, go watch the Solheim Cup. I didn't like that this week, where it was like all of these tour players were like, good luck to, you know, Team Europe or Team USA, I'll be watching. That's not a good social media campaign to drive people over to watch the Solheim Cup. You know what is though?
Is Bubba Watson being there with his wife, Angie, supporting the US team. I don't know if he's posted all about it on social media or not, but like, you know, just seeing the pans over of Bubba being there to support the team.
Yes.
Like that's what is more important. Like, you know, you can wish them good luck all you want on social media, but Bubba's literally there, like with his family, supporting them and helping out. And so I think, I feel like women's golf is always belittled and just treated like a second class citizen, and it just upsets me because like I never really knew that there was like gender inequality until like college. Like I literally have always just been treated like a dude or just like a human, you know. I've never,
we grew up in a male dominated community where,
you know,
just used to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know, it just makes me sad because like I so badly want to see the LPGA Tour on level playing grounds with the PGA Tour, the way, you know, WTA and the UTA or whatever the tennis people are, but it's just, it is what it is.
Well, and again, you're right. I mean, if you look at tennis, it's equal. I think people like watching the men just as much as they like watching the women. You look at USA Soccer, everyone is all for women's soccer. No one really cares about, you know, our men's soccer team. So again, it's not like I like watching men, I don't like watching women. It's making the product more desirable. And so when Lisa puts something out like this, it's not factoring in everything that matters. And it's basically saying like all women are treated terribly. And, you know, and I think we do have our setbacks and there are things that we have, these hurdles that we have to cross, and it's not easy. I know you probably feel it as a woman in the sports betting community. It's really fucking hard when you have the best picks or the best takes and no one ever takes you seriously because you're a woman.
Or people try to explain to you what you're doing as if I haven't been involved in golf for 21 years of my life. Like I'm young, but like golf has been my life for a really long time. Don't fucking tell me like what I already know. Like
you're a good player too. Like you're a good player.
Thank you. It's just, it's like, I mean, I'm not you, you know, I'm not like you. I'm not like, you know, the girls in the LPGA Tour, but like, I know what I'm talking about. And it translates into betting too. Just like you know what to look for in these golfers. And there's a lot of people that it's like, they're like, oh, well, I don't have your job, so I hate you. And I'm going to send like my cronies after you. And it's just like, okay, just because you're a dude whose tits are bigger than mine doesn't mean you should have my job. Like, congratulations that you think you should have my job, but you fucking shouldn't. So stop bullying me. And just, how did I get on this topic? I don't know.
No,
but it just pisses me off.
No, but it's true though, because I will see it all the time where guys will, you know, come at me for golf instruction or betting picks or really anything, but they'll take advice from some guy who slaps around a 105. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? No. Seriously? You're going to take that person's advice? And I don't think that being a good player always correlates to being good at your job through like social media or betting. But then it is a qualification for us, which is not fair. It's like someone tried to make me feel bad for only having one pro win. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Seriously?
You're a professional and you won as a professional. Like, isn't that good enough for them?
100%. So like, I do see how there are setbacks for women in male dominated industries, and you know, it is what it is, but we've overcome it. We've done what we need to do. We've had to be creative. We've had to do things that are out of the box, maybe the things that I don't always agree with, but how I've had to build my brand. But I did it because I had to do it that way to be successful. Same for you. And I feel like with the LPGA Tour, they need to be more creative with what they're doing and making it the best product they could possibly make that, and bringing people in who can help and who want to help. Because I think we all have a very similar goal, and we want to see the women on LPGA Tour make as much money as the guys. We want to see it be an equal product, and everyone wants that. So let's make it happen. Let's do that. But we need to be then welcomed in by the tour to be able to help. I have offered my help. They didn't want my help. And, you know, it's like, it's when you see something like that, or, you know, certain girls being, you know, very mean to me because of the way I built, and they said I can't talk about the tour. It's like, well, that's, you know, 3 million people that are now missing out on something because you have, you know, you just don't like me as a person. And I think that maybe that's happened with other people or other celebrities or other influencers who've wanted to help them. So I just hope like moving forward, they have more of an open mind and are willing to try things that are different, and they might work. They might not work, but it's doing something different. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think like right now the product is I think it's there. I think there's so many incredible players from across the globe playing every single week on the LPGA Tour. And I just think like the the package that, at least in the US, that they put out needs to be improved in some way, shape, or form. Like maybe go and see what they're doing in Japan and Korea, because women golfers there have fan clubs. They're superstars. Like they are treated with the respect that they deserve. And like, I don't know, I need to watch broadcasts, see what they're doing, like, because they're obviously doing something right over there. And I think like it needs to, kind of translate to other places in golf.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% correct. The players are doing everything they need to be doing. They're playing amazing golf. A lot of them are very active on social media, and it seems like they're really trying to do more. So it's, the next people up need to do what they need to do to make it even better, a better viewing experience for everyone else, and to find the information, like on your website, have the fucking results. Like I want to see the results. If I'm going to the official Solheim Cup website, I want to see the results. Like that takes no energy to do that. You got to figure stuff like that out. And that's a huge miss. That's a huge miss.
No, I agree.
Oh gosh. Wow. Well, that was more heated than I thought we would get. But we all face our struggles, and it's definitely difficult at times. And I think we all want to root for women's golf and have it be successful.
Yeah. And there are great strides. Like there has been a lot of things in the last like 3-5 years that I'm like, women's golf is headed in the right direction. Like that's great. Even the PGA of America taking over the LPGA championship, right? And putting that behind it in KPMG, like KPMG does a lot of great stuff for women's golf. So I think they're on the right track. Mike Wan was a great commissioner. Their new commissioner now, hopefully she's just as good. Like, I hope that like she's able to continue and improve the tour just as much as Mike Wan did. Carol Bivens put him back in the fucking Stone Age. Like she was just terrible. And then God,
I fucking forgot about her. Right? I forgot how terrible that was.
Right? And remember, she wanted the players to tweet as they were playing golf. In 2009, she wanted the LPGA Tour players to tweet in the middle of the round. And Christina Kim was like, you can S my D. Like that ain't happening. Or maybe she did do it. I don't know.
I forgot about that. That's insane. Well, Amanda, as always, thank you so much for coming on and talking everything golf. You're one of my favorite guests that we have on, and I hope that you enjoy kayaking in the future.
Thank you. I hope to see you again soon. I always love being here. I always love getting to talk to you. So I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It blows my mind that you like talking to me, but here we are.
Thanks again. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a couple other things.
John Lennon was a musical genius and one of the most beloved cultural figures of the 20th century. His songs inspired dreamers to imagine, but some thought he dreamed too much. Others thought he was too powerful. So he was followed, he was threatened, he was declared a danger to the United States, and in 1980, he was assassinated. Blood on the Tracks returns with Season 2, The John Lennon Story, premiering Thursday, August 19th. Blood on the Tracks is part true crime, part historical fiction, part spoken word lo-fi beat noir, brought to you by me, Jake Brennan. Season 2 of Blood on the Tracks, The John Lennon Story, will focus on the former Beatles' final decade in America. It is a tale full of paranoia, police raids, kidnappings, wiretaps, lost weekends, extortion, and murder. Listen to Blood on the Tracks on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Get your tickets now for the daytime stage at our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Samsung Galaxy.
Saturday, September 18th at Area 15, Las Vegas's new entertainment and events complex. A mind-blowing experience.
The hottest new stars from all genres of music perform live on the daytime stage.
Don't miss The Babies, Olivia Rodrigo,
The Kid Leroy,
Sweetie,
All Time Low,
24K Golden,
Russell Dickerson,
Youngblood,
Gabby Barrett,
Tate McRae,
Conan Gray,
Addison Rae, and more. The biggest artists in music come together for one weekend in Las Vegas.
Get your tickets for our 2021 iHeartRadio Music Festival, including the daytime stage at AXS.com.
Presented by Samsung Galaxy. Samsung wants to remind you that on August 11th, there's only one question you should be asking yourself. Are you ready for this life? Something big is brewing. Find out more at Samsung.com/reserve.
Hey, everybody, I'm Aditi Kinkabwala.
And I'm Mike Yam, and we are the hosts of NFL Explained. It's the podcast where football fanatics come to learn everything they always wanted to know about football.
But didn't know who to ask.
Well, they can ask us now. And of course, we're going through all of these topics, Aditi. And I know you and I are so excited to start disseminating nothing but football nugs.
Well, and Mike, I've got questions of my own. Like, do you know why the Packers are named the Packers?
I do know that it has nothing to do with Pac-Man, and it has everything to do with cheese packing.
Not cheese, with meat. Meat packing. It was a meat packing company that put $500 up for the uniforms.
Or how about this? How about like what constitutes an actual catch in football, which I would imagine all my years of covering college football is a different answer now covering the NFL.
And unfortunately, Mike, I don't think that we will possibly have enough time to figure that one out.
But the point is, you're going to be able to join us every Thursday to talk about every interesting detail about the game we love. It's NFL Explained.
Listen on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And I can't finish off this episode without talking about some college football. Ugh, it is so good to have college football back. And even better was seeing fans in the stadiums. It just warms my heart just to see everyone so excited, so into the games. And I think everyone appreciates it so much more now after everything that we've been through. The energy, and this is just from me observing it at home, but the energy at these games just seem so exciting, and I can't wait to go to a game myself, hopefully soon. I need to make that happen because I want to experience a true college football game in a college football city, town, college town. That made any sense at all. Speaking is hard. But no, I mean, I went to University of Arizona and then transferred to San Diego State. So I've never really experienced like that SEC type of, like tailgate and game. And that's something that I've always wanted to do. And especially now because, like I said, I just feel like everyone appreciates it so much more. And everyone's so excited that football's back, college football's back, and to just like be at those games. And that's something I've always wanted to do. But we got to talk about the best game so far. The Notre Dame-Florida State game went into overtime. Notre Dame ended up winning 41-38. And you already know that I was born to hate Notre Dame. My dad played football at Pitt. If I liked Notre Dame, I would have been disowned from my family. I mean, that's probably the worst thing that I could have ever done in my dad's eyes. And everyone's always like, Paige, does your dad look down on you, or does your dad feel upset that you over-sexualize yourself and you post like half-naked pictures online? And I go, no, my dad doesn't care at all. Like, not one bit. But if I told him that I was a Notre Dame fan, he would never look at me the same way. That would be utter disappointment if I liked Notre Dame. I was born to hate them. And so it kills me that they ended up pulling this one out. It looked like they were going to run away with it for a little bit. Florida State fought back and ended up being an amazing game. Such a good game. God, we already know that Notre Dame locked up a bowl pick already just by winning once against Florida State. And I think it's Notre Dame fans too, where they act like as if these are like national championship wins in the way that Notre Dame celebrates. And like, it's Florida State. It's like Florida fucking State. Like, you should be winning these games easily. These should be blowouts if you want to have a chance against any other of those top teams. Like, you would get destroyed right now. And so you can't be celebrating as if these are huge, huge wins for you. It just proves that you're just not at the caliber that you need to be. So I mean, you got to talk about Brian Kelly in his post-game interview where they asked like what they did wrong, what they get better at, and he was like, we're always talking about execution and my players now need to be executed. And it was so cringy and so bad. I'm not just saying this because I am not a Notre Dame fan. I think even if I liked Notre Dame as a school or a program or the team, I mean, they do have pretty sick uniforms, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think I would ever be a Brian Kelly fan, and I'm not even sure that Notre Dame football fans really truly enjoy Brian Kelly, if I'm being completely honest. And it was just such a bad attempt at humor. Obviously, he wasn't being serious, but it wasn't even like a deadpan, sarcastic kind of funny. It just completely missed the mark, and it went viral on social media. And everyone was like, did Brian Kelly just say he's going to execute his entire team? I mean, not very Catholic-like. But what it was just odd. I would say the Clemson-Georgia game was also another really good game. I'm backing Georgia 100% this season. I think that Georgia is going to shock everyone and win the Natty Championship this year. I just feel really good about them. Their defense is incredible. Everyone was saying that it was going to be a really high-scoring game since, you know, the pretty good offenses with Georgia and Clemson, but it ended up being only 10-3. So it just showed how good their defense is and how hard it's going to be to stop them. So I like Georgia. I also just really don't want to see Clemson or Alabama win again. I don't want to see that. But I really, really like Georgia. I think Georgia is my pick to win the national championship for sure. We also have NFL coming up, which I'm very excited about. We've been talking about preseason for a while now, and I just can't wait to get into it. Preseason's really hard to judge, you know, who's playing well, which teams look good. We know the usual suspects are going to play well this year. I'm still on the fence about how I think the Steelers are going to do. Big Ben actually looked really good in preseason. Our team looks solid, but then you have fucking Juju doing the crate challenge. If you don't know what the crate challenge is, they stack crates up in a pyramid, and he was walking over them, and I'm like, Juju, you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. Like, we don't need that. So I think if Juju stays off the TikTok and if Big Ben can stay healthy, I think they're going to have hopefully a pretty good season. Again, they're such a streaky team where we saw this last season where they can win a ton in a row, and then when it really matters towards the end of the season, they just can't get it done. And I don't know if it's just because Roethlisberger is getting older, so you know, when it gets more into the season, it's harder for him to compete. But I always hope for the best, but they're a hard team to watch. They're a hard team to be a fan of at times, even though they have such a winning history. It's just, you never know what you're going to get. But I believe in Tomlin. I love him so much. Like, I honestly love him so much. With PointsBet, we have a couple really great boosters, so you want to get in on this. So it's the NFL Double Your Money Booster. PointsBet is kicking off the football season with a special on the house booster. Double your money if Tampa Bay throws for just 1 yard during the season opener on September 9th. I mean, that's like going to happen. So you might as well get on that one. And we're also doing no juice. So PointsBet is offering no juice spreads on NFL games for the entire month of September. What does that mean? So plus 100 odds on all games. So you bet 100, win 100, listed 48 hours before kickoff. Stop burning money with other books. Sign up with PointsBet today. So PointsBet is the only sports book that does no juice. So again, you guys want to get in on that, you can use my code PAIGE, that's PAIGE, for all of that. And it's just fun. Like I was talking about before, you can bet $1, whatever you want, just to put a little something on the game to make it even more interesting. But I think we're going to have a really good football season. I hope that there's no issues with COVID, which has always been a big topic of discussion, obviously, in 2020. And again, now with all of the vaccinations, and I'm so tired of that being a storyline. And I know that it's important because it's a big global issue and we need to care about our health and state safety. But I just really hope that that's not always like the thing that's discussed and not made into something that's, I don't want to say like bigger than it is, because it is a really big problem, but I just hope that everyone is safe and doing everything that they need to do to protect themselves, and hopefully we'll have an amazing season that's not set back by, any outbreaks or just people being stupid. So we have college football, NFL. I would say that football season is one of my favorite seasons, and with golf wrapping up, it's weird, we'll have the Ryder Cup left, and then everything is going to be football. And kind of what Amanda was saying earlier is that golf has been so exciting this year, but I'm ready for a little bit of a break. It's hard to watch 4 days of golf every single week for the longest time, and so it's gonna be fun to just put all of my energy and time into watching football. Again, I've just been really enjoying these college football games. I'm interested to see how the Steelers are going to do, but that is all for today's episode. I want to thank you all for listening, and hopefully you enjoyed having someone else on, and it's not these solo episodes all the time. We'll do more of those, more guests, and we're going to be mixing it up a lot. So I know I always say that all the time, but we want to make the show the best that we possibly can for you guys, and always making it interesting, especially with so many different seasons starting up soon. And that is all. So if you have any questions, you can email us at par@iheartradio.com, or you can DM me on the Playing Around Instagram account. That's just the Playing Around podcast. So go check out everything I have there, putting content out there. You can email us. We're always dying to hear from you guys, from different topics to questions to really anything you want to ask me about. So do that, and don't forget to always subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And that is all for this week. Again, as always, thanks for listening, and I will catch you next time.
Follow Playing Around with Paige Renee on iHeartRadio, or subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
If you love trivia, if you love the hugely popular Stuff You Should Know podcast, then the Trivial Pursuit game, Stuff You Should Know edition, is for you. With 600 questions, weird and unbelievable trivia in categories like myths, legends, and conspiracies. SYSK selects a mix of topics handpicked by podcast hosts Josh and Chuck. Get the Trivial Pursuit game, Stuff You Should Know edition today, wherever you get your favorite board game.
A young college grad gunned down walking his dog. A young mom, Michelle Parker, vanishes after dropping off her little twins at the babysitter. Nancy Grace here. Every day on Crime Stories, we break down the biggest breaking crime news and study the clues left behind so we can help crime victims and their families. Every day, a mission. Every day, another chance to stop crime and keep one more person safe. Join us. Listen to Crime Stories with Nancy Grace on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Can't get enough football? Then look no further than the GMFB podcast. Join me, Kay Adams, alongside Nate Burleson, Peter Schrager, and Kyle Brandt for a daily breakdown of the league's biggest stories.
Between game plan breakdowns and fantasy tips, we've got you covered for all your football needs.
We got recaps, retweets, and reaction to all the wild moments you might have missed on and off the field.
Listen to the Good Morning Football podcast weekdays on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.